Hey guys, we're here, back at it again. Alex Padilla and Jefferson Reid.
Hey guys, how you doing?
There's nobody listening to this, man.
Right? I'm thinking it's live. Like, where's everybody?
Dude, nobody's gonna hear this. Probably one or two of my friends are gonna listen to this.
Those are the best ones.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just recorded a podcast with my boys the other day. We recorded two. Mm-hmm. One was before we got drunk. One was after we got drunk.
Which one was more fun?
The second one, dude.
Obviously.
Of course. The first one, we were just talking smack and
right.
You know, doing whatever. The next one, we were reminiscing and, you know, telling old stories.
It gets deeper when you drink, huh?
I don't know what it is about it. You know, we went outside, took a couple hits, came back inside, took a couple shots.
Right.
And then, boom, we were off.
I was just thinking about how I was reading somewhere that, you know, men, they have less like social relationships volume-wise than women, but they forge deeper bonds, they say. So I know, like, you know, there's all those jokes about how women are saying, you know, oh, dudes just talk about this when they're alone. But really, we just talk about, like, sad stuff and deep things.
For real, philosophical fucking concepts.
It gets deep. It gets real deep really quick, too.
All sorts of stuff, man. I mean, I started off with that other podcast. It was my friend had passed away recently. So we had all gotten together to, like, you know, reminisce and like remember him. Mm-hmm. And my buddy Jason, he starts off, all right, what do you guys think about death? And everybody's like, shut up, Jay. Like, we're not trying to talk about that right now.
Got deep quick.
Yeah, it got too deep. But let's start with something a little lighter.
Okay.
So you were a sensei at a karate dojo. What's that like?
It is probably one of the most challenging things that I've done. I taught MMA based stuff to kids and Krav Maga and more self-defense oriented stuff.
Badass.
Obviously this place is pretty self-defense oriented too, but it was more of a tough guy kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So it was almost like I went from teaching at Cobra Kai to you know, Miyagi-Do. So it's
that's awesome.
and it really kind of does have that mentality of you know, coming in here and treating kids as good as you can, because you're not going to get any great results by bullying them into them. You know, it's that classic thing of you want to toe that line between kind of giving a kid the confidence that if they, you know, get into a tough situation that they can handle themselves, at least mentally. And, you know, not bullying a kid to where they're traumatized, got great reflexes, and it's because their trauma response comes off anytime somebody approaches them in a certain way. So it's tough. It's tough on a bunch of different levels if you're trying to be good at it. If that's what you're, you know, I think it's a big responsibility. I've you know, done other things that could be considered to be big responsibilities, and this right here is even though I try to take it lightly and, you know, do my job and do it well, sometimes I go home and I'm like, man, I wish I could have did more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What got you into it in the first place? Were you a coach or?
I've always had a penchant for passing on knowledge. Nice. You know, even in my personal life, I just love talking to people and exploring concepts and things like that.
You're in the right place, man.
Right. So I have a lot of female friends. Nice. And it kind of started with me passing on techniques that I learned in the Army and from my martial arts training from before.
What are you professionally trained in? Or maybe not professional. But
not professional
necessarily. What are you trained in?
I have a decent background in Taekwondo. Cool. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from the Army. So it's called the Army Combatives. So I kind of got the basics of how to defend yourself and get somebody away from you and use your weapons. Not so much the wrapping up and gripping concepts of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Mm-hmm. A little bit of Krav Maga from, you know, learning on the job and getting better at it. And a little bit of Kung Fu.
Ooh,
a little bit of Kung Fu.
A little flash in there, huh?
Mm-hmm, just a little bit.
Not just the killer arts.
Right. So, you know, I like to say I have a pretty wide base, but my knowledge isn't as deep as, say, you know, Bruce Lee, somebody who's creating their own martial art.
Yeah, well, Bruce Lee was a phenomenon, man.
Oh, yeah.
That guy walked around and he just took what he learned from everybody, and everybody was, you know, during that time you did one martial art, right? And you would perfect that and, you know, study and train other people that martial art. He was like the first mixed martial artist, right?
He is the Michael Jordan of martial arts.
Amen.
He changed the game. Came in and not a single martial artist today can tell you they haven't learned something either philosophically or just watching him from Bruce Lee. He is a legend for a reason, you know.
Gotta be like water, man.
Be like water.
Be like water.
Every bro and every frat party knows him. Yeah,
Shit,
Bruce
dude.
Lee. Be like water, dude.
Be
Everybody
like water,
knows
bro.
him.
Hell yeah. Let's go tap that keg.
Be like water, drink beer. Like water.
Hey, that's the trick, though. You drink a glass of water per beer, per drink, whatever you want to call it.
Good to go. I just caught that fly.
Dude, I saw you catch that out of the air like a freaking ninja.
Mid-podcast.
Well done.
So now it's real life.
Well done. So, you mentioned your time in the Army. If I may.
Yeah.
Do you want to give me a little background on that?
So, I'm not, you know, a one of those hardcore dudes. I actually just got off set where we were using some of our skills and stuff.
Right.
But, you know, I'm not one of those, I served and, you know, I choked a bunch of people. Close enough. I spent most of my time, you know, I trained in Georgia and South Carolina in IT. So I was a computer nerd in the Army. And then I got stationed in Fort Huachuca, Arizona. It was just a communications
my cousin's
place.
in North Carolina doing IT stuff for the Army right now.
Is it Fort Jackson? Oh,
Probably.
North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
one of those bases.
I haven't seen him in a while. Eric, shout out to you, buddy.
Shout out, Eric. Thank you for serving our country.
Thank you for this. Thank you for your service, sir.
So, you know, I spent about 3 years of my Army service in what was voted the #1 most boring town in the U.S. 4 years in a row.
Oh.
Yep, Sierra Vista, Arizona. It's got one boulevard, Fry Boulevard, and one McDonald's. And one was like in a mall or some shit. So,
you know that family that has owned that McDonald's for 400 years.
Dude, they came here off the Mayflower, hopped on some wagons. They survived, and they were like, "Fuck it, we're gonna start a franchise."
They said, "Rev up them fryers."
And they've been there ever since. Like I said, one boulevard. It's literally a one road town, so it's kind of nuts.
And you were there for 3 years, you said?
I was there for 3 years, my entire Army career. I did not get deployed, nothing crazy. When I got there, I was on something called Rear D, Rear Detachment. Mm-hmm. So that's where, you know, you get there, your unit's already deployed, and so you're just kind of hanging around in the back just in case someone gets injured and they need to fill in a body.
Right.
And I was like, cool. And that was pretty much my whole Army career, sitting around and waiting.
You just chilled there, man?
I wouldn't call it chilling. I would call it waiting. You know, chilling and waiting is different. Like, if you're chilling, you have nothing to do and you know you have nothing to do. If you're waiting, there's a tension to it. There's like, you know, if you're sitting in a waiting room at the DMV and you know that if you don't get your license in a certain time, you got to be at work. Yeah. That's what it feels like. You're waiting for something to happen that never happens. And that brings on like a lot of psychological stress. So if you meet somebody who's, you know, who has served and has not done all the hardcore stuff, so to speak, that's not to say they're not a, you know, the same type of person. Obviously, they don't have that same experience, but they do have the experience of knowing what it's like to have to wait and feel that stress that potentially you know, they're nothing but a month away from going overseas and having to deal with the mortar rounds and everything you hear about overseas and stuff like that.
The reality of war.
Yeah.
That shit's scary, man.
It's different, obviously. You know, when you're in garrison, you see things, the hidden killers in the Army. You know, it's not the bombs and the crazy stuff that you hear on those Medal of Honor stories. No. Suicide is one of the top killers of people, vets, and as well as drunk driving.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question about something that no one at this dojo is going to like that we're going to talk about right now. Have you heard about these Johns Hopkins studies about the effects of, I think it's psilocybin, a type of psychedelic mushroom that has been used. I think it's Johns Hopkins. I know for sure they did a study about people who were terminally ill, and they gave them these drugs, and it made them more comfortable with the idea of death and their own mortality. But I also know that there are studies being done on veterans who've come back from war and have PTSD, and it actually helps them move through it and recover, which is incredible. And
I've never heard of it.
Okay, never mind.
We can discuss the concept of it, that, you know, like you said, if it makes someone more comfortable with the concept of death, I think when you come back from what you're dealing with, you're constantly faced with the reality that death could happen at any time. Yeah. And that mystery of, I have no idea what comes after the great beyond and what the sacrifice is going to mean, or is this even worth it? I think with something like that, it kind of gives you that assurance that it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. You know, if you passed away tomorrow, unfortunately, the world keeps moving. right? Unfortunately for you.
Unfortunately for you. Fortunately for the rest of us, we get to keep kicking.
And hell, it's unfortunate for the people in the world. Because, if I pass away tomorrow, I don't have to worry about the worry that, I won't have clean drinking water in 15 years.
Right.
I won't have to worry about the fact that, the world, not just, the capitalist countries, is deteriorating at a rate that is so scary.
It's really sad because we're watching it happen in real time. We're watching our policymakers, the people who we elect to govern us, fuck around. And I don't look, maybe revolution's a little too far, but reform is definitely on the table, right? Especially after all this Trump bullshit that we have fucking sat through for all these years.
I'll put it like this.
Yeah.
You say maybe revolution is a little too far. I'm of the mind that whatever gets shit done is probably far enough. Because look at all these riots and the peaceful protests that we have. We learned from the civil rights movement. I say as an infrastructure, we learned how to tamp out insurrection, so to speak.
Yeah.
Tamp out peaceful protests, how to minimize and mitigate it. They learned media attention, how we direct it is so important. So I think anything less than full-scale revolt is probably not going to get much done. You think about those guys walking around saying Black Lives Matter. Yeah. Black lives still don't matter. But at the very least, the threat of them getting violent or saying, we're not going to take this shit, makes people open their eyes and go, man, this could get out of hand.
Like Hong Kong, man. You know what's going on in Hong Kong right now? Holy shit, these people are not fucking around, dude.
Yes, man.
I'm fucking for it, man. Like when you're going up against a totalitarian, authoritarian, whatever fucking negative adjective government you're going to throw at it, dystopia, let's throw that word out there. You know what? It is up to the fucking people to clean that shit up.
Yeah.
It really is. Because if you are just deferring to people in power, they're just going to fucking do whatever they do already.
Yeah.
They're going to roll over you. They're going to have another Tiananmen Square. They're going to have another one of these fucking events where the people get rolled over and then the world forgets.
Their own roses, that whole thing of, we have that right now. We have that right now. It's unpopular to say it, but we have that. I can't think of anyone in this current society that looks at the leader of the free world and can honestly say without a shred of doubt that they are happy.
Oh,
and
man.
anyone who does is probably not in the right state of mind.
They're at least delusional.
At least. At the best, they are delusional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the worst, they are malignant. They are part of the cancer that we're because this guy has never been good for anybody, and he may not be the problem, because I wouldn't call Donald Trump the problem. Donald Trump is the problem.
Oh my god,
we put him there.
He is the absolute like red flag symptom signal, whatever you want to call it, that shit has been fucked for a while,
for a long time.
He is just the first guy to have capitalized on all of the bullshit. Because what was the general rule for politicians before, when you try to get elected? Keep your fucking mouth shut about shit you don't want to get in trouble about. You don't fucking sexually harass women, and you don't fucking do any of this dumb shit.
Yep.
And like Joe Biden right now. Joe Biden, love the guy, heart of gold. He's lost, I think, all of his kids. It's horrible.
Yep.
And he's very old, and it's very evident to see, especially because he's the number one leader on when you watch Fox News or MSNBC. Nobody fucking cares about that. I feel like their numbers are so abysmal and low. Like, that is not where people are getting their information anymore. I watch the fucking Kyle Kalinske show on my fucking YouTube podcast app, right? Like, I listen to podcasts. I'm on Joe Rogan every day, dude. Dude, nobody is well, maybe not nobody. The newer generation that is going to take the place of the boomer, Gen X, whatever you want to call it, that's preceded us, we're not going to be into the same kind of shit that they were into.
No, most of us get our news off Twitter. I know. I'm not ashamed to say I'm 28 years old and I still get all my info on Twitter. I still sit there and I'm like, what are the people saying?
Bro, as long as you're not saying Fox News, I'm pretty happy.
Fox,
yeah, man.
No matter what, because it's gotten to the point where, it really just... It's a symptom of everything, right? Just with the media. I hate saying the media. It's not that simple, but if we had to lump it all together, the media, the big media complex, I'm not going to necessarily say that everybody's got an agenda that they are pushing.
It's ratings, man. They want to make money. Like
they're going to talk about the
how
thing
did
that's going to
Trump
make you
get
watch.
elected? How did Trump get elected? His fucking ugly orange face was on every channel, every day. You'll never believe what Trump said next. Mm-hmm. And it was like, well, you know what they did? They gave him. It's like, you can't give this person a platform or whatever,
bad
right?
Publicity, right?
There is no such thing. The era of bad publicity is gone because give it to him, man. He's fucking smart about it. He took the undesirables, the assholes, and he gave them a figurehead. And he said, you know what? You guys don't have to hide anymore. You don't have to hide, man. You neo-Nazis, you white supremacists, come on home, baby.
You know what's so funny about that? I was raised by grandparents who were around. My grandfather served in World War II. Wow. My grandmother was, she was in the area for the marches, the Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement. They watched that happen. They died in their 90s in like 2013.
Thank God they didn't see Trump. Oh my God,
man, they probably would have died.
I know that's like a horrible thing to say,
but
thank God, dude. Like peak with Obama, and like that's a pretty good height to reach. Though he had his problems.
They kind of reminded me that the world had problems.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, you know what? I don't understand. Everything's fine. People are living rough, but it's fine. Becoming an adult and seeing that the world hasn't changed at all. In that you were talking about the undesirables, the ugly face of America. When you said coming out of hiding, that hit me somewhere because, your best friend, all they have to do is say one thing that tells you. I'm more afraid of the people who don't want to talk about politics or, it's not personal, dude. I just don't want to talk about it. Those people, they concern me, right? Because your politics is who you are. Man. Yeah, your politics is who you are. What you believe that is right, politically speaking, you believe to be morally correct. So if you believe it's morally correct to speak whatever you want to speak.
I'm going to disagree with you on that on that fact, and I'm going to counter with the point.
Okay.
I believe that abortion is a morally negative thing. Mm-hmm. I think that the idea that you take a pill or whatever the process is, and you are, erasing human life or the potential for human life, whatever you want to call it.
Good way to put it.
But I don't think abortion should be illegal. I don't support that it's a good thing that everybody should do. But if a teenage girl gets raped or a fucking 22-year-old girl is, $40K in debt out of college and she fucks up one night and she makes a mistake, I think she should have that, at least the choice.
The choice.
To repair it.
And that's where you may disagree, but I'd argue that you're adding to the point of that you have your beliefs, but you also recognize that other people have their beliefs and their beliefs are just as valid as your own.
Yeah.
Right? That's
people have needs, man.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't imagine what the thought process is of, you got raped, like you're in fucking Louisiana or Georgia where they just passed these horrible laws.
To pass the laws.
I don't know. I haven't followed the story. I'm praying to God that it didn't really happen. Mm-hmm. But they took out rape and incest. Like, you really want that to happen, guys? You really want these poor children? Like, and it happens to kids. Like, let's not fuck around. That happens to little girls that this happens to. And you want to take away their ability to fucking save their lives and not... And look, I'm sure those kids could be the next Einstein or the next whatever the fuck you want to say. Sure. It is irrelevant. It's her life, man.
It's her life. I mean, I get you 100% on that. It's, again, you have your beliefs, but you have the capacity to empathize.
100%.
And thus, we're sitting here discussing that we both don't agree that people who cannot empathize, which I think is the core difference between, if I had to say us and them, it's us as in the people who say, this is wrong. Mm-hmm. The people who say, look, I believe what I believe regardless of whatever happened. Whatever goes wrong, I still believe I'm right. You have the ability to go, you know what, someone might be right in their circumstance.
Yeah, man. I just had this conversation with my dad last night, and I don't know. I listened to this Paul Stamets podcast, and he's the mushroom guy with Joe Rogan. Right. Like, he's all about psychedelic mushrooms and whatever. I've never personally done any psychedelics or anything like that. I'm curious about it.
Me either. But.
I think it's interesting. But my dad did mushrooms when he was a kid, when he was a sophomore in high school. And I was listening to this. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go talk to my dad about this. Because my dad's very open about what he's done. And he talks a lot of shit. He's like, hates weed and hates everything. But he thinks alcohol is great because there's so many successful people that drink alcohol. I know, I fucking know, dude. Like, fucking go to Silicon Valley, Dad.
Hate to be this guy, but he's kind of got a point.
And look, I'm sure a lot of successful Wall Street brokers are on coke, dude. You know, or on not acid, on Adderall, or on speed. Mm-hmm. You know, Hitler was on fucking speed his entire reign, and that dude got shit fucking done.
He did.
Like, he was a piece of shit murdering asshole, but he organized these single, well, not the greatest, but one of the most effective.
You have to be clinical about it. Most effective.
So, you know, when the Germans knew they were losing, they were still executing people in gas chambers. They were still doing that shit.
That's how deep hate goes, man.
It's so wild. Like, you'd think at some point the reasonable people who have kind of like been like, holy shit, there's some shit going on. I'm gonna keep my head down and fucking shut the fuck up. But like, you'd think that once the pillars start falling and the fucking swastikas hit the ground, they go, all right, we're done. We're not killing anybody else. It's time to fucking change some shit. He had them twirled around his fucking finger, man. They kept killing people. And I'm sure they knew it was wrong.
It's what we're dealing with right now, man. It's hatred and fear are the most powerful motivators that this world has.
Negative motivators. I think
absolutely.
Love is also a very, very powerful
Love's
motivator.
Also tough to track, though. You know.
Yeah.
Love can also lead you to. Yeah, it's ambiguous. You know, love can lead you to do some dumb, terrible things.
It has led me to do some fucking stupid shit, dude.
Yeah. And I'd argue that they're so closely related. You know, it's the same chemicals involved with the two. It's just the way that they manifest in you. I think. I had the word for it, but basically what we associate with love is probably love.
I think love's ambiguous for sure. Mm-hmm. And love can do a whole bunch of negative shit for sure. But I mean, Martin Luther King Jr.'s message was of love, man. Like, even in all that oppression, in the face of all that hatred and anger, his message was about standing up as equals, with, black and white brothers and sisters. Like, I think that is a more powerful message than taking up arms. I think that's why I'm not religious personally, but I think the message of Jesus Christ is a very powerful one.
Absolutely.
The message of Krishna, of and this is probably not the best thing to say to an arm, but non-combative, like, I'm not saying roll over. I think what the people in Hong Kong are doing is just. Like, they're fighting back. They're taking down those fucking towers. They're shooting down those police drones. And they're doing their damnedest to fucking stay alive. And if they need to take up an armed revolt to fucking take back their home, maybe that's what needs to get done. But I'm hoping that they can exhaust all other options before that comes.
I think we're right there in the ballpark of what we're talking about passion. When you combine that with a focused purpose, passion and purpose, you put them both together, it's like two sides of a blade, right? You squeeze together until you sharpen that edge. When you put razor sharp focus and razor sharp passion, razor sharp purpose, you can cut through anything, right?
Yeah.
But if you got a whole lot of passion but no focus, it's like what we're dealing with right now. In that all of us are saying, man, this is terrible what's happened, but we don't know what to focus on.
We don't know what to do.
Right?
I mean, what? We call the UN, be like, hey guys,
help us out.
Yeah, you guys who have never fucking done anything in all of history because you have no power, can you help out Hong Kong? It's like, they're not gonna fucking do anything. Honestly, and this, like, after all this shit we just talked, I think the only person who Hong Kong can really depend on right now is Trump.
Yeah.
I think it's so sad to say, but he is China's enemy number one right now. Like, with the trade war, with all of this shit that's going on, I think this is great leverage for Trump, and I really hope, I actually genuinely hope that he can make something happen for the better for them.
Yeah.
Maybe some form of, self-sovereignty. Maybe they can get all their demands met. I don't know. Whatever the process is, I hope he can help it along. I doubt it.
Yeah.
I fucking doubt it.
And even if he does, at what cost?
Yeah.
Is it going to be better than it was or worse than it was? If we burn down Hong Kong right now and remade it in the image of the people who are fighting back, maybe things will get better. Once an establishment turns rotten, sometimes it's got to be torn out by the roots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a radical concept.
It is very radical. And, you know, I will say, though, that's the same kind of concept as the North against the South in the Civil War, man. You know, the North was about maintaining unity and about keeping things status quo, right? But releasing the slaves. Well, the South was like, fuck that. I don't like you guys.
The system works. Leave it.
Yeah, leave it alone. Leave it alone. These people like what they're doing. Like they're fulfilled. Whatever. They're subhuman. Whatever excuse. The Bible says it's okay. That was the number one fucking thing I might add for hundreds of years. The Bible says it tells you how much to sell people for. It tells you how much to sell children for, and it tells you not to eat shellfish and a lot of other things. But we don't have to get into that. That's a whole other ball of wax.
Can of worms.
Politics is fun, but religion, get me the fuck out of there.
Right. Because it's just a concept of it's basically just make believe, right?
Yeah.
Whatever your hope and your belief is, that's what's real.
Somebody thought of it, and someone believed it.
And then it became popular, you know? It's like any superstition. It's like, this is popular. I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm just doing it.
I throw salt over my shoulder. That's good luck, right? Hey, who came up with that?
You're going to get in a car accident just like the person who doesn't do the same shit. Just like the person who prays on their knees. Like, the world is chaos, man.
The truth is, you know, we're all on an even playing field.
Yeah, you know? That's a good way to put it.
There are stupid people, and there are smart people, but we're all kind of the same.
We're pretty much on the same playing field.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually, never mind. People are fucking dumb. I've seen some really dumb shit. Particularly in high school. Like I love my boys, but I have seen just the stupidest. Like my buddy Jorge was just he just sent a message on Snapchat. It was just like fucking 20 messages in a row of him talking about his Saturday night. And like he got blackout drunk, like couldn't remember what happened, and he got in a fight the morning he woke up on his hangover.
Oh, that's gangster.
And no, it is. He got headbutted by some little Indian kid. It was super random.
What a party.
Yeah, it's apparently hilarious. And I'm like, Jorge, like, you gotta recognize, bro, you blacked out. Nobody forced you to take those drinks. Nobody forced... Like, when I drink, I like to have a couple. If I lose a little bit of my memory, I got fucking freaked out. I've blacked out 3 or 4 times in my life. Twice I ended up in the hospital. Ooh. No, not for real reasons, though. Mostly because I was in college and the RAs caught me. And they're like, we have to call the paramedics. And I'm like, fuck off.
Like, fucked up. I'm enjoying myself.
They caught me in the shower puking. I was like, guys, just leave me alone. And then they called the cops, and it was a whole story. Yeesh. I didn't get in any trouble whatsoever. I even fought it. But we don't have to talk about that.
Living your life.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I think we should lower the drinking age to 18, personally.
I mean... I'm gonna do it anyway.
If you're old enough to fucking serve, man, like you should be able to drink.
Yeah. We're gonna do it anyway, and it's just like anything else, you know. It's just like when you try to repress your kids. You know, if I ever have a child, I would like to think I'll be a pretty damn liberal parent.
Yeah.
If another kid's cursing or talking about sex around my kid, I want them to learn from the right source what it is and why. I mean, it's pretty. I'll be real. It's pretty gross, man. I wouldn't do it until this time. I would protect myself, and I'm not gonna try to force my fear onto my kid, because then they're not going to be responsible. They're not going to be smart. They're not going to believe what I'm saying.
Absolutely. You have to have that reliable trust that you can have between each other. Like, I was talking about this with my girlfriend the other day. Like, we need to have open communication if we have kids or whatever. When I have my kids, I'm going to talk to them honestly, openly. I'm not going to make sex a stigma. I'm probably going to hold back on it, like, when they're young and not try to overexpose them. But, like... Vagina isn't going to be a dirty word. Penis isn't going to be a dirty word. You know, it's just going to be factual. And I feel like if you make something taboo, you give it power. You give other people power over your kids.
Oh yeah.
Because suddenly little Jimmy comes home from school and he's in fucking 4th grade. He looks at you and he's still so sweet. He doesn't have any fucking hair on his face. He says, "Mommy, I heard of 2 girls, 1 cup." And my buddy Brody showed it to me.
Oh, no.
That happened to me in the fucking 4th grade, bro. You know why? Because my mom was a fucking conservative evangelical Christian who didn't believe in fucking talking about sex or any of that kind of stuff. And my dad's a fucking horny ass atheist. So I got the worst of both worlds, dude.
Or the best.
I got No, I was weird about sex, man.
Overexposed and
I don't know what happened to me. Like, I got so much pressure from my dad about going after girls.
That's
all that shit.
thing.
And I was a fucking chubby kid. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like I'm a little pussy. Like
you in the vagina yet, son?
Yeah. He's like, by the time I was in the 3rd grade, I had like 5 girlfriends, and I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like,
Wait, I'm trying to do my math homework. Later.
Yeah, like. Jesus, I'm playing Spider-Man on my PS2, dude.
Right.
Like I'm not focused on this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it made it weird for me for so long. I just don't want my kids to be weird. Honestly, I blame my dad more than my mom, because my mom at least kept her mouth shut. Like she at least didn't talk about it. She didn't make me promise to be a virgin until I was married. But
that's parenting in general.
Yeah.
You know, we try so hard to force our personality traits and our beliefs on our kids, when the truth is, our kids come out of us.
Yeah.
Right? So there's power in that DNA. So if you just have more trust as a human being, and just say, here's what you need to know. When they ask, the general rule of thumb is when a child starts asking questions, when you start answering them as best as you can, and as honestly as possible. You don't want to be like, some people would be like, yeah, well, you stick your dick in the pussy and things happen. You don't want to be that person. Man. But you also want to say this is how it works.
Yep. The functionality and like.
Just be real with them.
Yeah, and be honest about the human part of it. Like, this is something that some people, when they love each other, do, and some people do for fun.
Yep. You don't want to try to push them in one direction, because they're gonna lean too hard on one. If you're like, oh, when 2 people love each other, no.
Because they're not going to know about protection. They're not going to know about choosing the right partner. They're not going to understand any of that shit, because you've tried to fucking coddle them.
Yep. You try to pigeonhole them into one way of thinking, and now those poor kids are they're trying to figure out like what life is, because you didn't really tell them shit. You just told them what you believe.
Yeah. Dude, I don't even know how to, like, if my kid came home and he was like, Dad, I'm into furry stuff. I don't know how to handle that shit, dude. I'll be honest.
What can you do? What are you going to do? Show up to his convention and be like, take off the suit, we're going home, man. I mean, it's like,
I've never, like, I try not to judge people or anything like that. Like, people are weird, people are kinky, right? But there was this one guy, I love this guy. He's fucking autistic, he's a furry, and he's gay. And he's like the world champion fighting game superstar of this game, Dragon Ball Fighters.
Oh shit.
Dude, he is like a legend. Sonic Fox. Sonic Fox is amazing, dude.
I've heard that name.
I love this fucking guy.
He plays Tekken 2, right?
I think Tekken 2.
I'm saying he plays Tekken as well.
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure he plays
Sonic Fox.
Dude, he does it on a controller. Most people are on their like pads or whatever.
Yep.
This dude is he's straight up a legend. Like I haven't seen so many unbelievably lit matches with him against this other guy, Geo1, who's this Japanese guy who's just like, one of those like Asian guy, like glasses, adjusts and like.
Those brain enhancing pills.
Yeah, he'll teleport behind you, that kind of shit. Or, whatever.
Nani? Yeah.
Nanda. Bakana.
Crazy stuff.
Fool. Man. Whatever. But seeing him, it's such a weird thing, because I always thought it was the opposite. Because, brother, it's 7:15.
Nah, we're at time.
All right.
This is a good one.
Damn, it was a good one. Maybe we can do another one sometime.
Yeah, let's do it again, man.
Yeah,
part
absolutely.
2. What's up?
Absolutely.
I like this style of just kind of riffing and
man, we're just having conversations
talking about life and the nature of things.
Yeah, I feel like having a path forward or like having a curriculum of what you want to say, it boxes you in.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about a bunch of different shit right now. I love it.
That stuff goes off script,
Absolutely. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
brother.
it, Jeff.
Thanks for having me. Let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
Do it again, bro.
All right. See you guys.